Marshall Goldsmith, welcome to the show. What do you mean by an earned life?
Well, I've got a copy of my book, and I'm often asked that question. To avoid getting it wrong, I'm going to read it.
Okay.
We're living an earned life when the choices, risks, and efforts we make in each moment align with an overarching purpose in our lives, regardless of the eventual outcome.
Okay. So take that a bit further. How does that manifest itself in my life today? I get up today, I need to go to work. I need to come home tonight and cook dinner for the kids or whatever it is. How does an earned life work into that day-to-day routine for me?
Well, the earned life really is about the day-to-day routine, because the idea is every time I take a breath, it's a new me. So life is a constant set of restarts. I'm a philosophical, not religious, but a philosophical Buddhist. And my Buddhist belief is, people say, is Buddhism about reincarnation. It's about nothing but reincarnation. It's about constant reincarnation. So the idea of an earned life is every day we're starting over. And it is that day-to-day life, not some abstraction or I'm going to get there when or next week or after I achieve this and that. So I think it's very practical, and it does relate back to immediate day-to-day life.
As you mentioned, your book takes inspiration from Buddhism. What tenets of Buddhism did you find particularly inspiring and helped inform during the writing of your book?
Well, a lot of it is Buddhism. A couple of thoughts. One is I always teach feed forward. Feed forward, I'm an executive coach, and I use feed forward in my coaching all the time. I teach everyone to ask for input, listen, think about it, don't critique or judge people, say thank you, use what you can use, and if you can't use it, don't use it. Buddha said, only do what I teach if it works for you. If it works for you, use it. If it doesn't work for you, it's okay, just don't. So my clients practice this over and over and over again. And in the book, I had 50 great people over the COVID period, every weekend, spend 6 hours in rotating groups talking about their lives. And we practice this feed forward over and over. So that's one part of the book. Another part of the book is a concept of impermanence. That there is no set me, there is no place I'm going to get there. That life is a constant set of reinventions, and every day we're starting over, every breath we're starting over. And the idea is living a great life is not about a place you get, it's a place you're going to. It's the journey, it's not the outcome. The great Western disease is I'll be happy when I get the money, status, BMW, condominium, will be happy when. And, that's a myth. There's one type of book that always has the same ending, and they lived happily ever after. That's a fairy tale.
Well, what do you say to folks that are caught up in that cycle of I'll be happy when?
I always say, number one, never focus on the results of what you do as a measure of your value as a human being. Never make the results of what you do a focus or a measure of your value as a human being, for two reasons. One, you don't control those results. There are 1,000 things impacting results that we don't have control over. You didn't invent COVID. I didn't invent COVID. And then number two, though, which I think is even more important, let's say you achieve the results. How much long-term satisfaction do you get out of that anyway? A day, a week, a month? Not much. You buy a new car. That's nice. It makes you happy for a little bit. How long? Not very much. So really focus on the day-to-day aspects of life as opposed to, I'll get these results. Extreme example. One of the people who endorsed my book is Albert Bourla. Albert's the CEO of Pfizer. And I talked to Albert a while back, and I said, I was Albert's coach. I said, Albert, how's it going last year? Oh, pretty good. Came up with that cure for COVID. You had vaccine. Good deal. Oh, that's good. Yeah. CEO of the year, and the stock's at all-time high. Employee engagement's up and everything. Book, all kinds of stuff. I said, Albert, that's wonderful. What's your problem? He said, oh, I have a huge problem. Next year. You think anybody bought that stock at this price cares what he did last year? Nope. Right. Next year. And if he puts his value as a human being into, I have to do more than last year, he might as well write it off. It's not going to happen.
It's difficult to top a vaccine that arrests a worldwide pandemic.
You hope he doesn't do better next year. No.
Yeah, let's see you top that. I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
And then that leads to my next question. You talk about living a life that is unbound by regret. And I think a lot of people have regret. And how do I let go of regret in my life?
I'll give you an exercise, just a simple exercise. You can practice. Okay, you ready, Kevin?
Okay.
Take a deep breath. Imagine everything that happened in your life was done by an infinite set of people, the previous Kevins, previous Kevins. Think of all the gifts they've given you that's listening to me right now. And think about how hard they tried. And think about the nice things they did. If any group of people did that many nice things, what should you say to those nice people? Thank you. So do your hands like this. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now, did they make a little mistake or two? Smile, breathe, hand. Let go. Who's the first person we need to learn to forgive?
Right. Ourselves.
Yeah. I've asked thousands of parents around the world this question. When my child grows up, I want my child to be. I say, give me one word. What's the number one word from parents, no matter what country I'm in? Happy. Okay, you want your kid to be happy? You want your parents to be happy? You go first.
Right.
You be happy.
Yeah. Our guest today is Marshall Goldsmith. We're here talking about his new book, The Earned Life. Choose, lose regret, and choose fulfillment. Now, Marshall, in your book, you talk about instead of expecting good things to happen, you encourage your readers to commit to a habit of earning, the earned life, if you will. Can you describe the power of having that habit of earning?
Well, my daughter Kelly's a professor at Vanderbilt, and she helped me understand the way you ask questions makes a big difference. And if you look at the concept of employee engagement, there are always these questions like, do you have meaningful work? Do you have a friend at work? And all this stuff. They're good questions, but if the answer is no, we blame the environment. It's not my fault, it's them. Well, I don't have meaningful work. They make me do trivia and they're unclear and it's their fault. Kelly taught me the value of asking questions every day that begin with the question, did I do my best to? Why? You can't blame somebody else. And, you know, in the book, I talk about 6 questions. Did I do my best to set clear goals? Rather than waiting for people to set goals for me, did I set my own goals? Did I do my best to make progress toward achieving my own goals? Did I do my best to be happy? Rather than saying, did the people in the world make me happy? Did I do my best to make myself happy today? Did I do my best to find meaning? Did I do my best to build positive relationships and be fully engaged or present? Well, great questions. Our research on this is amazing. If you just ask yourself these 6 questions every day, your life is a lot better. Why? You don't focus on what you cannot change. You focus on what you can change. And the one thing back to earning, did I do my best? Well, what did you do to earn all this stuff?
Right. Did you do your best in earnest, if you will?
Yeah. And you don't think about, did I do my best to be happy? But, you know, people forget to be happy.
Right.
We get so wrapped up in the day-to-day crap that we forget to be happy. I mean, in one of my books, I interviewed 3 brilliant people, all medical doctors. And one of them was Dr. Jim Kim, president of World Bank, and Dr. Ross Shaw, head of the Rockefeller Foundation, and Dr. John Moser, the head of the Mayo Clinic. So, you know, they're probably average IQ was smarter than you and me combined. And I asked him, how'd you score on an average day on did I do my best to be happy? Well, that same answer. Never dawned on me to try to be happy. Never thought about it. So they're all medical doctors. So I said, well, the dawn you're going to die? They cover that in medical school there. Death. Did they bring up that topic of death? I said, yeah, they covered the death thing. I said, do you think that's a silly question? I said, no, it's a great question. Just forgot to ask.
Now, your book has a number of exercises that can help us avoid the obstacles that prevent us from creating our own fulfilling lives. What's one exercise that you feel is particularly powerful?
Well, it's a 2-parter. One is back to the every time I take a breath, it's a new me. Pick somebody who did something great in your past, one of those previous yous, and write them a letter. And you say, you know, you went, thank you for learning Chinese, or thank you for learning to swim, or thank you for having this thought. And this is how it's impacted my life now. And I'm just going to send gratitude to the past versions of me. Thank you. And the other one is write a letter to the you of the future. And in that letter, you say, you know, right now I'm making a sacrifice. I'm doing some work. I'm saving money. I'm not doing something or other. And my goal is I'm going to try to help you. And what I'd expect from you is I want you to be grateful. And here's what I hope you do with this. And is not such a happy story. One of the guys in my former CEO club, he said, you know, he was retiring. He said, I worked 80 hours a week for 40 years with one goal, so my kids would never have to do that. And he said, it's the worst thing I could have done for myself or my kids. Kids are lazy. They don't work. They don't have any sense of value or drive. And my wife doesn't know me, and it was a disaster. You know, he should have written a letter to his kids and saying, you know what, I'm making a sacrifice here for you. And I don't expect much back, but I would like you to be appreciative. I would like you to be appreciative. And I would like it if you did something great with your life.
Now, we often talk about business success on this show, but you stress the importance of connecting that success to something greater than, as you're mentioning here, the isolated achievements of your career. Can you describe that connection and how it plays out in the world?
That's a very good point, because if you look, for example, the correlation between money and happiness is a very low correlation. Once you get past a middle class income, there's not much relationship between money and happiness anyway. So we think about, what is success? Well, I'm going to give you a model. What matters in life? There's not that much matters anyway. I've identified 6 things total, and we deal with 3 in the book. One is you need to be healthy. Well, you know, health is important. If you don't have health, the rest of the stuff doesn't matter too much. You need, as I said, a middle class or kind of lower middle class level of income, assuming you have that, and every one of your listeners almost does. And you need to have great relationships with people you love. Now, assuming you've got somebody you love, you're healthy, and you got middle class income, what matters? 3 things. You need a higher aspiration in life. What's this all for? It doesn't have to be religious, but it needs to be something. I mean, you're working all the time. Okay, why are you working all the time? Why are you doing the podcast? Why am I talking to you? You know, there needs to be some answer to that great question. Why am I doing this? That's part of it. Then you need to have ambitions, which are achievements, hopefully connected to the higher aspiration. And then you need to enjoy the day-to-day process of life, your actions. If you look at most human beings, our ancestors were kind of lost in that day-to-day action phase. I mean, they didn't have mind. They were almost all poor people. They didn't have any money. They didn't have savings. They kind of lived from day-to-day life, staying alive, basically. Mm-hmm. And then some people at the other end are lost in the aspiration phase. They're dreamers. They've got lofty ideas. They don't do much, but they dream a lot. The people listening to this call, the people I coach, they get addicted to achievement. They get addicted to achievement. And they really start thinking that somehow, if I achieve things, everything's going to be different. And if you're not careful, what happens is you get so focused on results or achievement, you forget the aspiration. Why am I doing this? And you forget to enjoy the process of life. Why you're like those 3 doctors I talked about. They're so busy achieving things, they forgot to be happy. Well, and you know, there's a certain quality of achievement that's good. But one of the guys in our group of 50 is Safi Bahcall. Safi wrote a book called Loon Shots. He's got an IQ of a zillion. Right. He started 4 companies. He made tons of money and consulted to presidents, on and on. So Safi said, I finally learned something in our little group. He said, I always thought that, and he talks like a scientist. He always thought that, he said, I always thought happiness was a dependent variable based on achievement. And if I achieve more, I will be happy. And he said, I finally realized happiness and achievement are independent variables. It's great to achieve to achieve. It's great to be happy, but achievement doesn't make you happy. I talked to him about it. I said, Safi, look, in terms of achievement, you got a PhD from Stanford, you're rich, you started successful businesses, you wrote New York Times bestselling books, blah, 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 blah. Now, exactly when do you get there in terms of achievement? You're already at 99.999 now. You really think getting to a 99.99999 is going to matter? No, it's not going to matter. You know, you're not going to be happier because you achieved something. If you did, you'd be dancing off the walls. We wouldn't be having this question. And it's hard. Michael Phelps won 25 gold medals. What do you think about doing after winning the 25th medal? Killing himself. Why? He was addicted to achievement. More. One final story in the book that I love is about the marshmallows. You know, they get this marshmallow research. So I take these kids, you give the kid a marshmallow. Kid eats 1, they get 1, but say, oh, but if you wait, kid, 2. Well, again, allegedly, they did these longitudinal studies, and the kids that ate 1 all become drug addicts, and the kids that ate 2 all get PhDs from Harvard, something along those lines. The gist of it is, delayed gratification is good. Almost every self-help book, delayed gratification is good. Delayed gratification is good. Here's how you can delay gratification. You will achieve more. Here's what they did not do in the study. They didn't take the kid with 2 marshmallows and say, hey, kid, wait a little bit more. 3. Wait some more. 4. Wait some more. 5, 10, 100, 1,000. And where does the story end? An old man sitting in a room waiting to die, surrounded by thousands of uneaten marshmallows. Sometimes you just got to eat the marshmallow. You got to eat the marshmallow here. And another story is Jack Welch, the famous COG. He almost died. So he has triple bypass, right? And my friend is a good friend of Jack Welch. So he says to Jack Welch, what'd you learn about life when you almost died? You know what Jack Welch said? Why am I drinking the damn cheap wine every night? Jack Welch is rich. He has this great wine cellar filled with great wine. Every night he's drinking cheap wine. He's waiting for the wine to appreciate in value. This is Jack Welch, who's worth hundreds of millions of dollars, waiting for his wine to appreciate in value while he's drinking cheap wine every night. You know, he said, this is insane. What am I doing? Well, you know, it's a good point. It is insane.
We are here with Marshall Goldsmith talking about his book, The Earned Life, Lose Regret, Choose Fulfillment. Now, Marshall, we have reached the action item round of the show. I'm wondering if you could please provide us with 3 quick action items that our listeners can do to begin to take advantage of your ideas and advice.
Okay. 1, every day evaluate yourself on 6 questions. Did I do my best to be? Did I do my best to set clear goals, to make progress, to be happy, to find meaning, build positive relationships, and be fully engaged? 1. Number 2, carry a card around with you wherever you go that says, am I being the person I want to be right now? Am I being the person I want to be now? And number 3, figure out what you want to improve and ask for feed forward. Ask everyone around you, how can I be a better listener, whatever it is for you. Listen to what they say. Don't promise to change everything. Just say thank you and do what you can.
Well, Marshall, it's been great speaking with you today. We're almost out of time, but before I let you go, one last question. You've given us some great advice here today, but what was the best piece of advice that you ever received, and how has it shaped who you are?
Take a deep breath. Imagine you're 95 years old and you're just getting ready to die. But right before you take that breath, you're given a beautiful gift. Go back and talk to the person who's listening to me right now. Give that person advice to be a better leader and have a better life. Well, think about that 95-year-old you. What advice would that person have for the you that's listening to me right now? Whatever that is, do that. In terms of performance appraisal, that's the only one that matters. That old person says you did the right thing, you did. That old person says you screwed up, you did. You don't have to impress anybody else. That's the best advice I ever got.
That is Marshall Goldsmith. Get his book, The Earned Life. Marshall, thank you so much for being with us on Everyday MBA.
Thank you so much for inviting me.